championship, baby.
Hello and welcome everybody back to another round of the Virtual Drift Championship. My name is Craig and with me as always is Tanner. What's going on, dude?
Oh, just enjoying an amazing qualifying session. Probably the highest qualifying session I think I've ever seen. It just shows the level that this year is bringing. An 89 to get into the top 32. That is just showing what these drivers have to bring and what to expect in battles.
Absolutely. As you called it earlier, maybe one more time city we might have here in front of us. But if you're just now joining us, we will pull up that line map for today. It is, again, Riga, so same line map as always. The only difference with this layout is that last and final wall has been extended by 2 of those K-rails to keep those cars on the track. So starting from left to right, drivers will enter into that normal entry, stick to that outside line the whole way around into clip 1, transition across that track into clip 2 for your next outside zone, down into clip 3 for your one and only inside clip, back out to clip 4 for your next outside zone, and then using all of the track there to get out to clip 5 and then transition one more time for your next decel zone into clip 6 for that big wall ride. We've got our first drivers at the line ready to go, Hines and Kazuki Fukushi.
Yeah, very close between Fukushi and Adrius Lene for who was going to take that 32 spot, but it ended up being Kazuki as we have Hines out front. Kazuki giving chase, they initiating a crazy angle right off the jump from Hines. Kazuki trying to keep up on the bumper during the transition, sacrificing a bit of that line to keep that proximity as they transition down into clip number 4, making one last transition into the wall. This is the make or break. Don't hit the wall, but stay with him as you see Kazuki making that last minute dive to try and catch back up to Hines.
Yeah, good start to the top 32 here as we go to this replay, and Alan doing really exactly what he did in qualifying and putting down a fantastic lead run here as we go to this replay. Alan entering in, staying along that yellow line. Kazuki is right there with him, but he is on a much tighter line, gets caught up in that first transition. Here we go into clip 5 here, last and final transition into the wall. Alan sets nicely. Kazuki falls back just a little bit in that Celica, sacrifices some of that angle, and reels Alan back in.
Well, now we got them back at the line, ready to do battle again. Kazuki under a lot of pressure here with Hines right behind him, or right beside him, as they leave the line and get going down this straightaway before entering into the long first entry into that outer zone. Alan right there on the bumper of Kazuki as they transition. Now Alan grabbing the door of Kazuki as he leaves no room when they come down into clip 4. One last transition into clip 5 now. Kazuki doing a great job out front, but Alan just applying all the pressure as we see just a big correction there right before the end.
Yeah, Kazuki catching a little bit of that wall there before crossing that finish line. We'll go to the replay of the second half of their battle here. First battle in the top 32. Kazuki entering in on a decent line here, ends up working out there, dropping a bit of tire along outside zone 1. Alan does a good job in that chase position to stick with him, stay on that same line, and follow him through the course here. Good transition from Kazuki in that lead position there for that last and final outside zone. But there you see him up against that wall, and that might just do it and give Allen the win here as we go to these judges. And there they go. All three judges, unanimous decision. Allen Hines gets the win in the first battle of the top 32.
No surprise there from how well of a qualifying he put on. Moving on to the top 16 as we have our next battle at the line ready to go. Mustafa Amene in that lead position. Giving chase is Oliver Belias. They're just waiting for those lights to turn on. And solid they go, and out of the gate clean. Already lighting up the tires is Mustafa, who did another wonderful job in qualifying. Good initiation, almost leaving Oliver there in the chase position, but making that up is Oliver now trying to get the door of Mustafa as they come through. Clip number 3 transitioning through. Look at the volume of pressure that Oliver is applying to Mustafa, but a little bit of a bobble there. And that's going to get rid of some of that proximity that he gained up, giving a little bit of advantage to Mustafa.
Yeah, Mustafa coming out swinging once again here in the top 32 as we go to the replay of the first half of their battle here with Mustafa up front, entering in, looking fantastic here. Leaves it just a little bit, but fills that first outside zone, leaving Oliver behind a little bit, but he does a good job to reel him back in there through that section of the course, right on the bumper as they make that transition. Right in the pocket is Oliver, but there through that transition and setting it into the wall, he comes up a little bit shallow, and Mustafa runs away with it a little bit.
Mustafa really asserting his lead role there, so now Oliver's going to have to do just as good. It will be up to Mustafa to make sure he can put on a really good chase run. The lights go out in the second half of this battle. Go Oliver out front, Mustafa giving chase now, lighting up the tires already is Oliver as he initiates. And Mustafa with a huge hit to Oliver on the initiation, putting him into the wall. I think that is something I've never seen on this track, is an incident at that point there.
Yeah, it happened so fast too. Really almost looked like it happened before the initiation line altogether. We'll go to this replay here. Again, Oliver out front taking on some contact from Mustafa in that chase position. Ooh, yeah, it actually looks like Mustafa didn't quite enter in there and was still straight as they came across that line. I actually hear over Discord Mustafa apologizing for the hit there. He'll continue on with that chase run, but it does seem as though that it will be fault on Mustafa, and Oliver will get the win and move on. We'll pull up those judges. Wait for the final decision there. And there they go. All three judges to the right for Oliver. He'll move on into the top 16.
Yeah, very sad to see Mustafa out this early in the competition, but it is a tight competition here today. So Oliver, congratulations on moving on into the top 16 as we have our next battle up at the line. Alexander Jaeger versus Yasser Sad. And this should be a really interesting battle. Both these guys were amazing in qualifying, so it'll be great to see how they do in a battle against each other. Alexander out front in that Lexus, giving chase in that S14 is Yasser as they initiate in. Yasser already getting up on the door of Alexander as Alexander transitions through clip 2. They come in through that inner clip, and look at the proximity that Yasser is putting on Alexander. But Alexander is on a very good lead line right now as we see him transition into this final wall ride, and the proximity and the pressure that Yasser is putting on.
Oh man, yeah, really putting it to Alexander Jaeger in that lead position. We'll go to the replay here with him out front being chased down by Yasser Sad in that S14, entering in nicely, and look at Yasser right there with him in the pocket. Alexander on a very nice lead run as well, following the line the way he's supposed to out front. Nice and smooth transitions, leans up against that curb, and then a little bumper tap there through that transition from Yasir, and as you pointed out, just applies the pressure throughout the back half of that course.
Well, Yasir looking like the dominant one in this battle, but we'll see now as they're flipped around. Yasir in that lead position. Alexander giving chase now. They get out of the gate clean, lighting up the tires was Alexander. They both initiate in. Right on his door already is Alexander. A great bumper to bumper on the transition. No room there as they come through clip number 3 into 4. Look at that. Proximity dropping a little bit for these tight transitions, but now we start to see Alexander really getting up on there. Yasir doing a very good job out front, and Alexander just putting the car where it needed to be.
Oh, remember what we were saying about the one more times? Here we go back to the replay. Super close battle here as we go to the second half of this replay here. Yasir out front entering in along that yellow line. Alexander a little bit shallow, but works it together right on the bumper as they make that first transition. Loads it up a little early there and along the bumper once again. Matches that angle nicely as they come through this back half of the course and applying a bit of pressure, maybe not quite as close as Yasir, but we'll go to those judges. They'll go left for Alexander or right for Yasir. Oh, and there they go, our first one more time of the day. We'll get to see these drivers go at it once again.
That's always good news. We like to see more drifting, and I was kind of poking at the judges there before we all came back, and I told them I think there's going to be a lot of one more times. They were like, oh, no. Well, I think that's the start of it, and I think we're only going to get more as we go.
And right here in the top 32, the third battle of the day.
Technically the fourth, because it's a one more time.
It is now.
As we see Alexander Jaeger back at the front in that Lexus, and Yasir ready to give chase one more time. Let's see if they can get a more clear winner out of this battle. Out of the gates they come, and down the straight they go, initiating into that big downhill. Good initiation there by Alexander, but Yasir right on the door already. Oh, tapping the bumper of Alexander as they transition, not leaving enough room. Alexander going high up on the curbs. Yasir staying on the line he's on as he almost grazes the bumper again and starts grabbing the door of Alexander's Lexus and holding it there all the way across the finish line.
Here we go, back to another replay. Starting things out strong again is Yasir. See Alexander enter that car in, gives up a little bit of room to that outside zone, and there you see just a little bit of bumper tap, which could lead to Alexander dropping a tire on that rumble strip as it pushes that transition just a little bit later, but does a fantastic job to hang on to it, keep on going through that run, and they're lined back up for the second half.
They sure are. So now we have Yasir Saad in the lead position, and Alexander now giving chase, and seeing how close Yasir was to Alexander. Alexander's going just as close as they initiate in. Yasir out front, Alexander giving chase. A little bit more proximity from Alexander in the chase position given towards Yasir. Yasir was a lot closer, but we can see Alexander's just kind of keeping it a little safe, close on the transition, right on the bumper. But again, look at the distance between Yasir and Alexander as they come through that finish line.
Yeah, he pulled a little bit of space on him there in the second half of the one more time with Yasir out front here. Entering in on this replay nice and wide along that yellow line. Good transition with Alexander right there in chase, a little bit on the inside. That is okay from that chase position in that section of the course. Right in the pocket there is Alexander. But then this last and final turn, Yasir starts to pull away from him just a little bit there as they cross that finish line. And we'll go to the judges once again between these two drivers. And they'll go left for Alexander or right for Yasir. Another close battle here. And there they go. Alexander is going to get the win and move on into the top 16. And as I'm overhearing, it is that little bumper tap there through that transition for outside zone 2.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It's going to come down to the tiniest of mistakes through these runs. So everything from a bumper tap to a wall tap, it's all going to matter in the judges' decisions today. So got to keep it as clean as possible. Next battle, Stephen Hatcher versus Russell Jones. Stephen Hatcher in the lead position in that wonderful rotary RX-7, getting chased down by the S14 of Russell Jones. Good initiation by Hatcher already with a good gap established as they come through outer zone 2 and inner clip 1. Russell starting to grab the door of Stephen Hatcher, leaving some room there for the transition. We see them come around into this final wall ride of clip 5, and Russell's trying to get closer to Hatcher, trying to get closer, and just gets there by the finish line.
Yeah, good clean run from Stephen out front here as we go back to this replay. Russell Jones trying to chase him down in that S14. There you see Stephen entering in super wide for that outside zone. Nice transition across. Russell trying to reel him in on that just a little bit of an inside line there. Nice transition across from Stephen. Just super solid lead run out front, which really gives all the opportunity for that chase to be there with him. And Russell does just that at the back half of the course.
Now we'll see if we get a victor. Stephen Hatcher is very good in the chase position. Russell Jones, he's pretty well rounded in mostly all of it, so we'll see how he gets on as they come down the straight and initiate in. Russell Jones doing a good job out front, but Hatcher right there with him already, leaving enough room for that transition, but still getting back up onto the door, leaving actually with Russell pulling a little bit on Hatcher. As Hatcher goes too wide, goes up on the curb, so Hatcher's gonna have to take a more inside line to try and get that proximity back. Oh, but Russell goes into the wall and holds it to the finish. Ooh.
Yeah, just barely getting into the wall there around that back half of that final outside zone. And here we go with that replay of the second half of their battle. Russell entering in along that yellow line. Really nice line. And there you see Stephen pop out of the smoke right there with him, right into that pocket, giving a little bit of space there for that transition. Falling back just a little bit again is Stephen, but then reels him in on a little bit of an inside line as they set into that last and final outside zone. But there, Russell getting into the wall, straightening out just a little bit. And we'll go to those judges. Left for Stephen Hatcher, or right for Russell Jones. But I think Stephen Hatcher might come away with it with that super clean lead run. And then those small corrections from Russell in that lead run. And there it is. Stephen Hatcher gets the win. Unanimous decision from all 3 judges, and we'll see him in the top 16.
And he'll be up against Alexander Jaeger there, so very good start to this top 32 bracket. Very good start to this top 32 bracket as we wait for next few drivers to start loading in.
Yeah, I was going to say, group 1 of top 32 already down and done with. We'll pull up the bracket if you're not following along. You see Alan Hines getting the win. We'll see him face Oliver later on in the top 16. And Alexander Jaeger and Stephen Hatcher later in the top 16. And up next, Reese Tatterson and Abdulrahman Al-Shetwee.
If you want to follow along, you can also do exclamation point bracket in the chat, and that'll also bring up this link. You're able to follow along with us as the battles go on. Wait a little bit longer for everybody to get in here. We want to thank everybody for joining us here for the top 32 of round 2 of the Virtual Drift Championship here at Riga. It's Riga, baby.
Sure is. Again, so excited to be back here. We took a season off from it as we our first what, first 4 seasons we continuously came back to Bikernieki, so we took a season off, and then with these new updates that have been done, it just looks better than ever.
Yeah, I think it's just it's not only a driver's track, but a crowd-pleasing track as well. And all the drivers, they know it so well, and I think that's why we saw what we saw today with an 89 qualifying score. I mean, even looking at round one where we were in 87, but that's no different there. As you know, that was a newer track, but it just shows the level that these guys are bringing this year. Is if you can't qualify well, you're gonna better learn how to do it really quickly.
Yeah, absolutely. I believe we're still just waiting on
I actually think it's our next
Abdul.
little
Yeah,
map here.
he's now connecting to the server as I hear from the other drivers and staff members in our Discord. Big shout out to our other staff members, Dion in the background doing some of the graphics. All 3 judges, Chris, Ed, and Matt, taking the time out of their day to do this. And now in our 6th season of competition. It's been a ride. It's been a journey.
It has been. I can't believe it's been 6 seasons already. I mean, I got a memory in my Facebook not too long ago. I think it was of either season 1 or season 2 before I even joined up with you guys. And it was I'm coming for that license. And well, if you can't beat them, join them. So.
Nothing wrong with that. And look at there. I think they are at the line and ready.
They sure are. So you're not seeing double. This is the other Pro Drift Academy driver, Reese Tatterson, in the lead lane in that S15, being chased down by the S15 of Al-Shetwee. They come down that straight and initiate in. Already off to a good start is Reese Tatterson, but right away Abdul catching up to him, catching on that door, sacrificing the line to keep the proximity though, as he transitions right along the door into outside zone 4, now into 5. Reese Tatterson building a bit of a gap there, but already Abdul pushing right back up onto the door.
Yeah, good start to this battle here as we go back to the replay. Reese Tatterson out front in that Pro Drift Academy S15, being chased down by Al-Shetwee here in his S15. Reese on a very good lead line here, and look at there, right on the bumper as they make that first transition. Sticking right there with Reese, who's out front on a very good lead line, and just door to door as they come into that outside zone. Sets in nicely to this last and final wall ride, and there they go across the line for the first half of their battle here in the top 32.
Now they're back around at the start line and ready to duke it out again. In the lead is Abdul, and now giving chase is Reese as the lights go solid and away they go. Come down this huge straight, initiate in. Right with them already is Reese as they come through out of zone 1. Reese leaving just enough room for that transition as they come through that inside flip. Now a little bit of a gap as they transition once more. This is where Abdul managed to actually be on the door during the transition. Reese couldn't pull that off as close, but a lot closer in proximity around clip 5. So we'll see how the judges will decide this one.
Yeah, another solid lead out front here with Abdullah Raham in the S15, and I'm almost lost for words here. He might have it as we go back to this replay. Sets in nicely. Reese right there along that bumper as they make that first transition. Good line, maybe a little bit wide there, but you see he's starting to pull away and pull a bit of a gap here from Reese Tatterson in that chase position. Reese on a little bit of an inside line here along that final outside wall. And across that finish line, close battle between these two here in the top 32. Left for Reese or right for Al-Shetwee. Both solid lead runs out front. It might just come down to those chase positions, and they're going left for Reese. And one more time overall, Ed chooses Reese, and Chris and Matt choose one more time, so we'll get to see these drivers battle it out once again.
I believe it's a fair call, in all honesty, the one more time. It was very close between them both, very little mistakes from each of them. So now we get to see more drifting, and I'm always excited for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, just tit for tat, and I believe it is just going to come down to those chase positions, as the leads were, you know, pretty solid between the both of them, and the small mistakes came from that chase position.
Just very small mistakes from the chases, so we'll see if they clean it up and if a more decided winner can be claimed, as we have Reese in the Pro Drift Academy S15 back at the start line in the lead position, and beside him is Abdulrahman Al-Shetwee in his S15. He's in the white one, Reese in the green one, as they get off the line nice and clean. No restarts needed as they initiate in. Reese out front already. Abdul trying to go in for that door, and he does manage to get it as he pushes Reese Tatterson off course during the transition, and that's going to end this half of the run.
Yeah, that's a tough one there, as we'll wait for Al-Shetwee to finish out this run. And check this replay. Here we go again. Reese out front for the first half of the one more time battle between these two. Both even on the run up there, entering in. Al-Shetwee giving up a little bit of line. Oh, and yeah, just getting into that rear quarter of Reese Tatterson up front, which stops him from making that transition he needs to. And really shuts the rundown from there, at least for Reese. Abdulrahman will continue on, but yeah, as you said, first half of that battle done.
Yeah, so let's hope. I mean, right now Reese is looking in the positives, so everything's just got to go nice and smoothly for this run, as Abdulrahman is now out front, getting chased down by Reese. They initiate in. No hard pushes, but Allen is already trying to get all over the door as we see them try. Allen, this is Reese's car, not Allen's, as we see them transition into clip 4. Right on the bumper is Reese on the transitions, every single one. And now he's going to push real hard to keep as much proximity, wheel to wheel, as they come around that finish line.
Yeah, good on Reese to still go after it here in the second half of the one more time, with Al-Shetwee out front. Reese Tatterson giving chase. Big flick initiation from Al-Shetwee in that lead position. A little bit of line given up by Reese in that chase position. But unless, again, there's a zero, Reese has the advantage here going into the second half of this one more time. Beautiful way to set into that wall. Does need to use a little bit of left foot brake and correct out of it, but yeah, they're already driving off, and Reese is going to get the win and move on into the top 16.
Sure will, and now we'll see who will go to see him. Will it be Brandon Patrick, or will it be Victor Alves? Brandon Patrick in the Ferrari 599, Victor Alves in that beautiful S15 in the chase position. The lights go solid, and the battle is underway. Brandon Patrick out front getting chased down Victor Alves. Brandon Patrick initiates. Good initiation from Patrick as we see them transition now. Victor Alves trying to put the pressure down, and it's starting to make a dent in that proximity as they transition to outside zone 4. Really good proximity now by Victor Alves. He's starting to push up on that door, but a good lead run here from Brandon Patrick, but they are door to door as they come across that finish line.
Oh, wow. Very good lead run out front in that big Ferrari, but Victor sticking with it the entire run here as we go to this replay. Again, Brandon out front, entering in along that yellow line, filling that first outside zone. Victor right there in chase as they come across that inside clip and into the next outside zone, sticking right there with him again for clip 5. And as well, coming into the wall, sacrificing just a little bit of line in that chase position, but he sticks with him. And there they go across the finish line for their first half of the battle.
And now back around at the front, Victor Alves in the chase position with Brandon Patrick giving chase. They get all of the gate clean and down the straight they come, initiating in. Alves out front. Brandon already trying to put on that pressure as they leave barely any room for that transition as they come around into outer zone 3 and transition now into outer zone 4. Brandon Patrick is really applying the pressure here in the later half of the scores, really trying to get that proximity, but it looks like, oh, just getting right up on the door there as they come across the line.
Yeah, very close battle once again here in the top 32 with Victor out front, Brandon Patrick giving chase and entering in together here, filling that first outside zone. Nice transition across with Brandon right there in chase. Super even between these two drivers and these two battles here. Setting into the wall nicely. Brandon maybe a little bit better in that chase position. Setting into that last and final outside zone. We'll go to the judges. They'll go left for Brandon, right for Victor, or will they stay in the middle again for another one more time here in the top 32?
Well, I'd like to believe that the judges have enough to work off of those two runs, but you never know. They could definitely call for one more time, another one more time, and well, then another one more time, which we did see. I think I think it was last season. It was very close. It was like 3 one more times in a row.
Ooh, and close. Chris and Matt go with Brandon Patrick. And Ed says one more time, but Brandon's going to get the win, and we'll see him in the top 16.
So good congratulations to Brandon for making it that far. And now we have our next battle, Brandon Gardner in that, I believe it's an Infinity. I think I asked this last time. I'm going to go with Infinity. In his Infinity, up against Alexander Shivrook in the same Ferrari 599 that we just saw, but with a different livery. And I think a different wing too. As they come out of the gate and down the straightaway, initiating in is Brandon out front. Alexander right behind him as they come through outside zone 1. Right on the bumper is Alexander. Look at that proximity as they come through clip number 3. Coming into 4 now, the proximity is a little gone, but they has to leave that room for transition. And now right back up on the door, getting to the wheel as well is Serkis in that chase position.
Yeah, and here we go back to the replay. Apologies, the graphics up on the top left are wrong. That's our next battle coming up. This is Brandon Gardner being chased down by Alexander in that Ferrari. Super nice way to start the battle out there in that first section of the course. Look at them just glued together there. Ferrari applying the pressure in that chase position, but a super good lead run out front from Brandon there. There they go across that finish line for the first half.
Alexander being super aggressive in that chase position. So now it's going to give Brandon something to work towards. They change positions with Alexander Shivrook out front. Brandon now giving chase as they come down that straight. Initiating in is Alexander Shivrook. But right away, Brandon's trying to stick with him just as close. We'll see what his proximity is like coming into clip 4. And it already looks like Shivrook has some huge proximity built onto Brandon as they come into that final clip 5, that wall ride. And definitely the gap is established between Brandon and Alexander.
Yeah, solid lead out front here as we go back to the replay with Alexander Shivrook out front being chased down by Brandon Gardner. Brandon coming off of that really nice lead run. And just sticking to that yellow line out front is that Ferrari. Brandon doing everything he can to try and keep up there in that chase position. But a bit of a gap established, and then right there again onto the bumper of that Ferrari. But as they set in, gives up a little bit of space, and there starts to understeer a little bit in that chase position and wash that front out. Having a hard time keeping up there. We'll go to the judges, left for Brandon or right for Alexander. And there they go, right for Alexander Shivrook. He will get the win and move on into that top 16.
Good job there from Alexander Shivrook. That early aggression really paid off for him. As now we go to our next battle, Erica Serkis, the winner of the first round of this season 6 of the Virtual Drift Championship, up against the hot boy himself, Marcus Lundqvist, in that 240 SX. As the lights go solid and off they go. Erica's out front and initiating in. Marcus not as close on the initiation, so has to push to get up onto the door, which he does do, leaving barely any room for the transition. Very close they come through clip 3. Transitioning now down to clip 4. Another transition looking good. They're so close, but now as on the wall ride, a big gap got established early on that clip 5 from Erica's.
Yeah, you sure did pull away a little bit there in that last and final outside zone of the first half of their battle. Here we go with this replay, clean through the start, and leaving Marcus a little bit behind on the run-up as they enter in. Marcus sacrifices just a little bit of line there and reels him back in. Sticks with him through this portion of the course here, right along the bumper as they make that transition. And again, for the last and final one, but as they set into this last and final turn, you see Erica's pulling away just a little bit. Marcus having to sacrifice just a little bit of angle to reel him back in.
Yeah, you sure did. So now we're going to see what Marcus can do out front and if he can do a better lead, and if Ericus is better in the chase as they initiate in. Marcus really quick on that initiation, but Ericus able to stick with them as they transition from 2 through that inside clip. A little bit more proximity there showing from Ericus. They made just enough room for the final transition onto the wall ride. None of them going too deep, but oh, Marcus going too deep and going into the wall, ending that run.
Yeah, unfortunately having to shut it down right there, as you said. Not going too deep for the wall. He does. He goes just a little bit too deep, has to straighten out. And here we go with that replay. Dropping a little bit of a tire is Marcus out front and maybe getting a bit of a bumper tap there along that transition into outside zone 2, but they keep it going up onto the curb just a little bit. Is Marcus out front. He sets in nicely, but you see him pull just a little bit of angle out of it. He works out to the outside and then adds the angle back in and gets a piece of that wall, and it has to shut the run down. We'll go to those judges. They'll go left for Ericas or right for Marcus. And there they go. Unanimous decision. Serkis gets the win and moves on into the top 16.
Great job there from Ericus, already on a tear here in round 2. Let's see how far he can get. Maybe take home another podium as we finish up the second group of the top 32. So we're just going to let the next group load in here. Get right back into this action.
And if you're following along on that bracket, Tikhon, Poleski, and Łukasz Tastiemski up next. This should be a super exciting battle. We know Tikhon super skilled in both of those positions, lead and chase. And Tastiemski can throw down as well in that 1 Series Beamer.
Yes, but he's up against a robot.
The macro lead and chase buttons, as I like to call them.
The macro word.exe was activated. Tikhon's an amazing driver. He's so dialed in no matter what track he goes on to. We've seen some great battles between him and many other drivers, but he does lose at times as well. Pressure sometimes can even crack the great robot. As we just wait for the remainder of these guys here to load in and get the call to come to the line. And if you're just joining us, we're just almost about halfway through the top 32 of round 2 here of the Virtual Drift Championship, season 6 at the Riga circuit in Latvia. Yeah, here they are at the line. Tikhon Poleski out front. Łukasz Tastiemski, my bad, in the chase position in the BMW. Let's see who will take this one home. Off they go. Tikhon off to a good start, but Lukash kind of right with him as they initiate in. Oh, Lukash going a little wide, having to catch himself there as they transition through outside zone 2 and through the first clip. Lukash kind of playing the catch-up game now as they come into clip 4. Now the proximity has been regained from that early mistake and trying to get up onto the door. Tikhon, which he is doing. They are wheel to wheel as they come across that finish line.
Yeah, really good lead out front from Tikhon as he qualifies second today as well, and doing the same thing here in that lead position. Lukash trying everything he can to stay with Tikhon here in that chase position. Washes out just a little bit, but Tikhon dropping a bit of tire as well along that outside line. There they go. Nice transition across. Super wide is Tikhon, but Lukash right there along the bumper as they make that transition. And Tikhon setting in very nicely to that last and final outside zone. And we'll go to the second half of their battle.
Both drivers just getting back to the start line. Not too sure where Tikhon's driving now. He's going way down there to U-turn. Needs all the road he possibly can. Mind games. That's how you win. Now we have Lukash out front and Tikhon giving chase. Good start by both the drivers, but already Tikhon kind of climbing up on that door already as they transition in. And there's Tikhon right along the door of Lukash as they transition down through that inside clip. Tikhon all over Lukash. There's no room to breathe for either of them as these transitions are right on the bumper. But oh, a hit from Tikhon pushing Lukash into the wall.
Oh, man. What? Yeah, how the turntables as we go to this replay with Lukash out front being chased down by Tikhon. We'll have to really pay attention here with that contact. Nice way to set in. Does go a little wide, but he does look to get a little bit of a nudge from Tikhon in that chase position. They continue on nicely. Tikhon right there along the bumper applying the pressure. They transition across. And yeah, getting a tap from Tikhon in that chase position. I almost want to let the replay go again real quick. See if we can really see what happens here. As there is a bit of a decel zone, but decel zones, of course, don't mean you can, full on slam on the brakes and park the car. And you got to pay attention where that decel zone ends, as it ends right at that yellow line coming into outside zone. Ooh, just super close. The contact does seem to happen before the yellow line. And Lukash was coming in with a ton of momentum, but I'm not sure I saw any type of break whatsoever from Tikhon. We'll let it roll again, maybe for those judges.
Yeah, I mean, even looking at it just from me looking over this, when we see them come into that, I see a little bit of a brake tap by Lukash out front just to kind of settle that rear end, and then right as he does that is when the rear end of Tikhon's car taps the rear end of his car and puts him into the wall.
Yeah, and it really seemed like it came around quick too. We'll go to those judges. They'll go left for Tikhon or right for Lukash. Tough call for them to make, but it is all going to come down to that contact coming into the last and final outside zone.
Now, obviously, the judges have more data than us to look at, so they'll be looking at wheel speed and whatnot as they look over their stuff. But just from our point of views, our perspective, and
yeah, absolutely. They've also got the stream. You can actually slow the stream down to quarter speed and half speed and stuff on YouTube. Back it up the way you need to, and really take a look at what went down with that contact.
It's just mind-blowing to know that that macro.exe had failed to respond. And,
There's a glitch in the system.
There's a glitch in the system. This is the second round now. Say if Tikhon does get out it ends up being his fault. We can't make any assumptions now. We're not judges. But this would be the second round now where we've had one of the heavy hitters out within the top 32 and top 16. I believe it was last round. Hines got knocked out in top 16 or grade 8. It was the top 16, and then T-Con in the grade 8.
Yeah, it sure was. And then, yeah, last round 1, 18 out of the 32 drivers that made it into that top 32 were rookies. So majority of rookies made it into the main event for round 1. Just crazy. It's always nice to see, though. They'll raise the bar and bring more competition to the series.
Well, and that's just it, right? And it brings the level like we're seeing here right now, where it takes an 89 at Riga to even bat an eye at looking at the top 32. We were watching runs all day long that were, in my eyes, perfect, but because of one little flaw, that means they're not the ones getting through, and that's just mind-blowing to think of it, especially when we look at competition, what it was 4 years ago, where an 89 to qualify would be unheard of. Maybe a 68, a 74, but an 89, that's just whew.
Yeah, I think we ended up with just one. We did have one round last season that was around the 89s, but it seemed to be like 85 to 87 would get you in to top 32 for season 5. But again, we didn't have that many rookies making it into the top 32 every single event. And look at there, Tastiemski gets the win. Chris calls for a one more time. Ed and Matt choose Tastiemski, and he'll move on into the top 16.
Woo-wee. There it is. That's definitely going to come down to just that contact. Hard debate, but Lukash moving on. And T-Con in a top 32 knock. I don't think I've seen that. T-Con out in the top 32. That's a new one.
Yeah, absolutely. And a mistake from T-Con nonetheless as well. It's usually, if he does go out, he has to get beaten, just fair and square.
Fair and square, yep. But we have our next battle up at the line and ready to go. Darius Ostrich in the BMW up against Carol Hildebrand in the S15. Darius out front, Carol giving chase. They initiate in. Darius off to a good start already, but Carol right there with them as they transition. Ooh, almost not leaving enough room for it. As Darius comes through the next clipping point, a little bit of a tap there. Not leaving enough room was Carol as they tried to make that transition, but it still worked for the both of them. Coming into that long wall ride, they are wheel to wheel as they cross the finish line.
Yeah, good start to their top 32 battle here as we go to the replay. But as you pointed out, Carol getting a little caught up in that first transition as we go to the replay here. Darius entering in nicely. Very good line. And right there, maybe even a bit of a tap there from the chase position. But Darius does a good job to keep it going as well as Carol. Falls right on into that pocket of that nice lead run out front here. And a solid finish to the first half of their battle.
Yeah, it sure was a very solid battle for the both of them. And now we're going to flip them around and send them one more time as we have Carol out front in the S15. Giving chase now is Darius as the lights go solid and off they go. The start of the second half of this battle. Initiating in is Carol Hildebrand, but right behind him is Darius, leaving just a little bit more room for that transition. Not as close in the proximity coming through clip 4. They transition on each other's bumpers. Now that proximity is starting to get made up by Darius in that chase position. Can he get to the wheel? Yes, he can. Almost getting to the door as well as they come across that finish line.
Yeah, good way to apply that pressure as they finish the course out. And here we go with the replay. Carol out front being chased down by Darius in that BMW. Nice initiation. Great transition as well out front with Darius reeling him back in along that bumper as they make that transition. Carroll using the entire track there and sets in nicely to the wall. And there you see Darius reeling back in, apply that pressure, give him a little bit of a tap as well before crossing that finish line. And we'll go to these judges. Left for Darius or right for Carroll, who's going to get the win and move on to face Łukasz Tastiemski, who just took out Tikon Poleski.
With competition like this, I mean, it's anyone's game, so I guess we'll just sit here and wait to see what they decide.
And there they go. Left for Darius Ostrika. Ed chooses one more time, but Chris and Matt go with Darius Ostrika. He'll get the win and move on into that top 16. Is over here on Discord. That little tap is what cost Carroll Hildebrand.
That little tap has cost a lot of people a lot of things in this top 32. As we move on to our next battle. And good job there from Darius to go up against Łukasz in the top 16. Here they come. Our next battle. Darren Baker in the lead position in that GTR 35. Up against Abdulaziz Al-Harbi in his S14, hopefully. We have a Baker. Now we just need Abdulaziz to the line. No. How was I looking at that wrong?
Yeah, a little bit off. Brandon Williams, unfortunately, just isn't on server. So hopefully we'll see him get onto the server.
Yes, this would be the start of his 5-minute timeout.
Yeah, absolutely. He's got to be quick.
He does, as we have now the right names. Austin Zaweski in that lead position up against Abdulaziz Al-Harbi in his S14, right beside him, or S15, sorry. In the chase position, ready to duke it out.
Yeah, so judges are going to hold him here while Brandon connects. That way he doesn't connect in the middle of the run. He's already, halfway through connecting to the server, so it doesn't, want to cause any problem. But here we go.
Awesome. That's a great thing from the judges to actually catch that and stop it as they come down that straightaway and initiate in. There is Austin out front, but right now Abdul is putting on quite a bit of pressure right from the gate. As we see them come through outer clip 4 and transition down, or out 3 into 4, and now no room on that transition, bumper to bumper through the wall ride, and a big gap there actually between Austin and Abdul as they finish out.
Yeah, Austin pulling away a little bit there in that lead position as we go back to the replay. Him out front being chased down by Abdulaziz Al-Harbi. An overall solid lead run out front, sets in nicely along that outside. Gives up a little bit of room to that outside zone 1, but makes a nice transition. You see Abdulaziz wash out in that chase position through outside 3, but there along the bumper as they come into the last and final outside zone. And reels him back in across that finish line.
Sure does, and now they're back at the start line, flipped around. Abdulaziz in the lead position with Austin giving chase. You see them initiating. Oh, kind of a weird initiation there from Austin. I don't know if he wasn't expecting the flick there from Abdul, but it doesn't upset him too much and gets onto the door now of Abdul, putting a lot of pressure onto Abdul as they come through this final transition and into the wall ride. They're getting closer and closer, wheel to wheel, as they come across that finish line.
Yeah, Austin applying a bit of pressure in that chase position. So we go back to the replay of the second half of their battle here. And again, this is top 32. And these battles have just been insane. A little bit of maybe contact before entering in, but somehow gets it together along the bumper there as they make that first transition. Loads up that front before Abdulaziz does in that chase, makes the nice transition. and sticks with him through this last and final outside zone. Does sacrifice a bit of line, not quite all the way out there to the wall in that chase position, but nonetheless sticks with him. And we'll go to the judges. Left for Austin Zalewski or right for Abdulaziz Al-Harbi. Another close battle here in the top 32. And look at there, Austin Zalewski gets the win, moves on into the top 16.
Great job by Austin. Very good on the aggression there on his chase run. Really knew what he had to do there and went, okay, I need to be super aggressive. Let's get this done. And he did, as we have our next battle up at the line and ready to go. Darren Baker in the GTR 35 up against now the right driver, Brandon Williams in that JZX. And the lights go solid and off they go. Darren Baker out front, Brandon giving chase as they initiate in. Look at Darren already on a good lead line. Brandon falling behind a little bit on the transition as we see them come up to clip 4. Brandon going really, really wide there, grabbing that rumble strip. That's really going to upset him, but using that momentum to his advantage to regain the proximity on that wall ride and actually being able to stick with Darren through to the end of the course.
Yeah, quite the mistake there from Brandon in that chase position as we go back to the replay. Darren out front and coming off that second place finish from round 1 and looking good here in top 32. Sets in nicely with that GTR, sacrifices a little bit of space, but gets it together in that transition. And there you see Brandon get up on to that rumble strip, lose grip, stay on the outside, but makes it up somehow and reels him back in, gets back into the pocket around the back half of this last and final outside zone.
Yeah, Brandon really kind of fighting that car, but now we'll see what he can do as when he's given the lead, as he's in that lead lane now with Darren Baker ready to give chase. The lights go solid and off they go. Brandon out front, getting away clean, but Darren right there with them, and already Darren keeping a good proximity off of that initiation. Really, Brandon's doing a decent lead run here so far, but Darren's taking advantage of that and leaving just enough room for each of these transitions as we come up to that wall ride. Now let's see the push that Darren can put here, and he does, gets it right up on the door as they cross the line.
Yeah, Darren doing a really good job and doing exactly what he needs to in that chase position to, I think, give himself the win here as we go back to the replay. Brandon entering in and giving up a ton of space, does work himself into that outside zone, but it is the incorrect line as judges want to see him use that full course and stay on that yellow line, and giving up a little bit of room here and there along those outside zones. But Darren doing a good job in that chase position to stick with him, and there they go across that finish line. We'll go to those judges. Left for Darren Baker, right for Brandon Williams. I think Brandon Williams is going to come away with it here. And there they go, unanimous decision. Darren Baker will get the win and move on into the top 16.
Good job there from Darren. Again, looking at this field, a lot of the rookies getting through into the top 16. And it's always a good mix of rookie and veteran. So, I mean, pretty soon we're just going to have the rookie versus veteran battles.
Absolutely, and an interesting battle coming up if you're watching or following along on the bracket. Zach O'Sullivan and Ryan Literal up next to face off against each other in the top 32, and now teammates here on the virtual side of things. Ryan Literal joining JSI. There they come, creeping to the line. And Zach will lead as he qualified third today And coming out swinging is Zach O'Sullivan, as always, winning Rookie of the Year last season. They are off. Zach out front. Ryan giving chase. Zach pulling ahead a little bit here as they enter in. Look at there, Ryan literal trying to reel him back in, but Zach pulling away in that Supra. Transitions across. Oh, and a little bumper tap from Ryan literal in that chase position, trying to make up the gap there. And we'll go to the replay here. Again, Zach out front being chased down by now teammate Ryan Literal here in the top 32 All-American battle as well. Again, Zach entering in on a fantastic line. Does give up just a little bit of space for outside zone 1, but grabs all of outside zone 2 as well as 3. There, Ryan reeling him in just a little bit, but falls back again, and there, bumper tap right into the back of Zach. Zach doing a fantastic job to keep things going. And then Ryan trying to reel him back in once again.
Yeah, Ryan really just trying to keep everything in check there as we start the next half of this battle. With Ryan literal out front getting chased down by Zach O'Sullivan. I love to look at those lights that he's got on there as they initiate in. Ryan trying to get that car to angle, but going way too wide, dropping 3 tires off at the first outer zone. Zach, though, doing a great job at anticipating that and sticking with them. Even though the run could technically be over, he's still just having fun with it out there and keeping it together. Now Zach's just got to do what he knows he has to do and put it on the door as they cross that finish line.
Yeah, overall not bad by Ryan, and a good save to keep things going as he fell off the track there in that turn 1. And here we go with the replay again. Ryan out front entering in, and it just looks like he didn't quite get the car to the angle that he wanted to right off that initiation, and it pushed forward and pushed to the outside. But again, fantastic job to keep it going, as well as Zach in that chase position to hang back, give him enough space to get back onto the track and settled and keep that run going. And there they go across that finish line together. We'll go to those judges, left for Zach or right for Ryan Literal. I think Zach's gonna get the win here with that mistake from Ryan in that lead position. There they go, unanimous decision. Zach O'Sullivan gets the win over teammate Ryan Literal, and he'll move on into the top 16. But overall, good showing from Ryan for his first top 32 event here in the Virtual Drift Championship.
Yeah, definitely a good job to Ryan there. I mean, to even make it into qualifying for this one, for your first event, I mean, that's a feat on its own. So, you know, hats off to you, good sir. But we have more battles to go as we have Yaroslav Trush up against Yoshida. Mr. Yoshida in the R33 in that chase position, up against Yaro in that S15 in the lead as they initiate in right along that yellow line. But look at the pressure Yoshida is putting on to Yaro as they come through clip 3 and transition into 4. Yoshida is right there with him as Yaro's trying to do this great lead run, but Yoshida is just giving him no room for error as they cross the line.
Yeah, good start to their battle though. Trush looking good out front, and I'm happy to see Masashi make it to the line this time for his top 32 battle. I know it's super late for him, but he does a good job here in the chase as well. There they go through that first turn. Nice transition with Masashi right there in tow in that V8 R33. Transitions with Yarko out front once again. Nice and smooth by both of these drivers through this course, and a great way to start things out.
Yeah, it definitely is, but now we'll see Masashi Yoshida out front, up, and then Yaroslav giving chase. Yoshida waiting for those lights to go, and solid they turn, and off he goes. Yaro already fallen behind a little bit, but we'll see how he does on the initiation. Putting it right on the rear quarter panel of Yoshida's R33, but backing out of it quite a bit there to make sure they had room for the transition. Yaro's going to have some work to do to make up with that proximity loss that he had. Now as they come into the final wall ride, Yaro's starting to push up again and grabbing that door of Yoshida, and then they cross the line.
Yeah, he definitely made up that space and reeled him back in. We'll go to the replay. I'm not sure if it's going to be enough, though, as Masashi was super clean through his chase position. As you see him get a little bit ahead here on that run-up, Yarko has to make up that ground, and he does so even with more angle. Does a good job there, but you can see back in that chase position, goes up onto the curb. He falls back behind a little bit, has to make up some ground, and he does just that as they set into this last and final outside zone. Sticks with Masashi out front, but we'll go to the judges to see if that was enough to get the win. They'll go left for Yarko Trish or right for Masashi Yoshida. Tough one to call once again here. Again in the top 32.
A lot more battles still to be had. We'll see what the judges decide, though, on these two, as it was a very tight battle between them.
Oh, and we get another one more time between these drivers.
I mean, that's to be expected. It was a very close battle for both of them. Both of them pushed exactly where they needed to. And now we just get to see what'll be the outcome of their one more time battle. Now we have Yaro back out front in his S15 and Yoshida ready to give chase in his R33. The lights go solid and off they go. Yaro off to a good start, but right behind him is Yoshida as they initiate in. Oh, Yoshida pushing really, really hard off that initiation as we see Yaro putting on a good lead line here, but Yoshida is not leaving any room for error as they come into clip number 4 and now diving into 5. Yoshida has been stuck to that front fender of that S15 of Yaro all the way through this course.
Yeah, he sure did. He put a statement on that chase run there. But again, a very smooth lead out front by Yarko. We go to this replay, entering in along that outside line, sticking with it all the way around. But again, Masashi right there with him up onto the curb as well in that chase position. But again, is able to stay with him along the bumpers as they make those transitions. Again, right there for the last and final one, setting into outside zone 5, and there they go, finishing out the first half of their one more time battle.
Now the deciding battle, the second half. Yoshida out front, Yaro giving chase. The lights go solid, and Yaro's off to a good start. Hopefully a little closer than he was on the last one, but not as close as Yoshida was on his chase run as they coming through the clip 3 into 4 now, and a bigger gap established there from Yoshida onto Yaro. Yaro's gonna push now. Ooh, and make contact with Yoshida. Yoshida does a great job at holding that car together to not have it go in the wall.
Yeah, that's going to be a close one we need to look at here on the replay with Masashi out front. And Trush giving chase and a little bit of contact along that wall run at the back half of that course. Very nice entry this time from Masashi. Exactly what the judges wanted to see from him. Trush doing a good job in that chase position as well. Not quite as close as Masashi was. There they go, setting into that wall, and yep, just a little bit of tap from that chase position. So close there. Again, we'll let it run through one more time. Make sure that the contact from the chase position happens before the wall does. I think the judges have actually made their decisions. We'll let it play out here. A nice smooth line from Masashi out front. Good on Trush as well. Yeah, absolutely. It does happen from that chase position, unfortunately. And there they go, already making their decisions. Masashi Yoshida gets the win and moves on into that top 16.
Very good job from Yoshida there, as we have our second to last battle of the top 32. Daniel Mora in that BMW up against Christopher Pena in his BMW. Not too sure the model differences, so Craig, you can definitely tell me on which ones they are, as I do not know my BMWs.
E92 out front and E36 in chase.
See, I knew the red one was an E36. I'm slowly learning these things. They all look the same, to my opinion. So here we go with Daniel Mora out front. Christoph giving chase to Christoph, already showing tons of aggression here as they come through clip number 3, keeping that proximity up as they come into the final wall ride. A huge transition from Daniel Mora out front, but that does not shake Christoph as he's keeping it on the door all the way through to that finish line.
Yeah, he sure did. He stuck with him through the majority of this run here with Daniel out front. But Daniel doing a good job in that lead position as well as he enters that E92 in along that outside line, giving up just a little bit of space there. But smooth around that inside clip. Rapiner right there in chase along those bumpers as they make those transitions. Falls back the way he needs to in that chase position to give room, and then right back on him and almost shoving him through that last and final outside zone.
Well, now we'll see if Daniel Mora can pour on that same aggression as we have Christopher Pena out front and Daniel Mora ready to give chase. The light goes solid and off they go. A good gap right out of the gate there for Christoph, but there's Daniel Mora putting on the pressure as they initiate in through the first 3 clips. Daniel right on the door as they come through to the next transition, but now a little bit more of a gap. Daniel fell behind there a little bit, having to make up that work that he put into place. And now there they are coming through that final transition. Daniel just struggling to get it up onto the door of Christoph.
Yeah, he sure was. As we go back to this replay with Christoph out front, Daniel giving chase. You see Daniel lack of grip there, leaving the line. Christoph entering in, sacrifices a bit of angle there through turn 1, makes the transition and gets back to it. Nice transition again as he pulls away there in that lead position. Daniel doing everything he can to try and keep up, and he does just that. Reels him back in for that last and final outside zone and gives him a little tap across that finish line. So we'll go to these judges for another close battle. Daniel Mora on the left and Christoph Rapina on the right.
That was a super close battle. Feel free to cut me off if they do make a decision here. It seemed like the aggression from Christoph was very prominent in there. So we'll see kind of what the judges take of that, as it just seemed Daniel didn't have that proximity that Christoph did.
Yeah, I mean, there is a small argument for a couple of things that Christoph did in his lead to somewhat cause that, but yeah, that might be what it comes down to as well. Daniel Mora is going to get the win as that first turn, Christoph taking out a ton of angle in the back half of that first turn, and then as well coming into outside zone 3, just before it, he pulls angle out of it a little bit and really darts forward in that lead position, and that may be what it comes down to, and how Daniel Mora is going to get the win.
I guarantee that's how Daniel Mora got the win, knowing our wonderful judges. As I see one car sitting at the line, there should be 2. Our next battle, KO Fonseca and Jake Wise. They're both in the server, but I only see Jake's car there at the line. Here he comes. KO Fonseca's S15 coming to the line, and one of the few only Zenki S14s beside him of Jake Wise. light goes solid, and off they go. The final battle of the top 32. Who's going to go see Daniel Mora in the top 16? Initiating in is KO Fonseca. Jake Wise touches the back bumper and almost over-rotates KO Fonseca. KO does a wonderful job to stick with him, and Jake Wise does go off track, but hops back on course and continues on with this fight as they come into that final wall ride of clip 5. And Jake Wise putting the pressure on, but I think it was all she wrote right at the very beginning for this battle.
Yeah, it's unfortunate to see for sure, but good job on both those drivers to also keep that run going. As we go back to the replay with Fonseca out front, Jake Wise giving chase, and yeah, it just looks like Jake didn't set into the angle he quite wanted, gives KO a little nudge there, and coming down that hill, it really washes the lead out. And KO falls off the track a bit. But again, good job to keep things going. And here they are coming into that last and final outside zone together and across that finish line.
Well, let's see if the second half of this battle goes a little smoother with Jake Wise in that chase, in that lead position, with KO Fonseca giving chase now. Wait for the lights to ignite and go solid. Off they go for the second half of this battle. Down the straightaway, Jake Wise out front. KO already kind of right with them as they initiate in. KO trying to just keep a nice proximity, as he knows he's basically sitting on a 10-0, so it's really just up to him to finish out this run. It's basically all she wrote for this battle here, but a good job here from Jake Wise in this lead position, and actually giving the gaps a little bit to KO in some of these sectors. So very good job to Jake.
Yeah, solid lead out front. Unfortunately, it looks like he gets into the wall a little bit for the last and final outside zone, but other than that, super solid out front. But unfortunately, I don't think that's going to be enough to give Jake the win after having that contact in the first half of their battle. Again, super smooth there. Nice line from Jake out front. KO doing everything he needs to keep that run going, but not apply too much pressure. Reels him back in there as well. And there you see Jake get out of the angle a little bit as if he gets into the wall. And we'll go to those judges. Left for KO Fonseca, right for Jake Wise for our last and final battle of the top 32. And I know the graphic says it went to Jake Wise, but the bracket says KO Fonseca gets the win. And we'll wait on confirmation from the judges here, but I'm gonna assume Fonseca does get the win here. There they go. Well, and then it got reset. But yeah, absolutely. KO Fonseca gets the win. There they go, all together now. And he'll move on into the top 16. I know that confused a ton of people on the live stream chat there, but definitely KO Fonseca gets a win from that contact, and we'll see him face off against Daniel Mora in the top 16. But that's going to do it for our top 32. We're going to take a very small break before we kick off top 16, and we'll be right back with more main event action. All right, we are back and we have our first top 16 battle at the line ready to go. Hines and Oliver Belias.
Yeah, they sure are ready to go. Hines in that Pro Drift Academy S15. Oliver Belias in his S15, the big purple one right beside it in the chase position. They're just going to wait for those lights to ignite. On they go. It's solid. That means it's time to get the first battle of the top 16 underway. Hines out front, Oliver right behind him. Good initiation by Hines. Oliver going a little wide there for the transition out of outside zone 1. And it really seems like Alan's just starting to walk away here. A little bit of proximity starting to be gained back, though, from Oliver as they come into this final outer zone. And oh, yeah, nothing's going to be able to get him onto that door before the finish.
Yeah, Allen out front, starting things off with a really nice lead run as we go back to this replay. Oliver in that chase position in his S14 and entering in a bit early as Allen and stays on that outside line. And you see Oliver falling back, then transitions to an inside line and still has trouble keeping up with Hines out front, up onto the curb just a little bit as Allen keeps things going and settles into that last and final wall ride very nicely to finish out the first half of their top 16 battle.
Well, they already started the next one, so off we go. Oliver out front, Hines giving chase. Oliver initiates in. Hines is right there with him, though. Good proximity out of that first initiation down to the next 3 clips. Allen is all over the doors of Oliver. Oliver doing a very good job out here in the lead, but Allen is just being so aggressive in this portion. A little wall tap there from Oliver, 2 wall taps. But Allen was right there the whole time.
Yeah, he sure was. And we'll go back to the replay here. Oliver Belias out front, being chased down by Hines, entering in nicely along that yellow line there. Drops maybe a bit of a tire there, but keeps things going. Allen doing a good job to leave enough room for that first transition. Sticking with him throughout this course and applying a pressure for this last and final outside zone as Oliver gets into that wall just a couple of times there before crossing that finish line. And here we go, back to the judges once more. Allen on the left, Oliver on the right. And there they go. Hines will get the win and move on into the top 8.
Hines really making a comeback from round 1 where he got knocked out by Zach O'Sullivan, so it's good to see him in the grade 8 as we have our next battle. Alexander Jaeger in that Lexus in the lead position up against Steven Hatchard in the rotary powered RX-7 FD in the chase position. We wait for those lights to go solid and off they go. Time to hear some Dorito power. Oh, we love the sound of Steven's car. Initiating in is Alexander. Whoa, lots of angle. I don't think Steven was expecting it as he recorrects and gets back onto the door of Alexander Jaeger. They transition now into clip 4 and 5. Good job by Steven to keep the proximity and the aggression, but Alexander Jaeger with a wonderful lead line here aside from a small little overcorrection at the first outside zone.
Yeah, it really looked like Steven was trying to make up for that mistake there in this first turn as we go back to the replay. Alexander entering in, and yeah, I mean, he does end up leaving the outside line just a little bit. But overall, I mean, decent line there. But again, ton of angle, and it does make you wonder if that may have been the cause of Steven's mistakes in that chase position. But of course, we'll leave that up to those judges here as we go to the second half of their battle.
Yeah, second half, Steven Hatcher out front in that chase, in that lead position, in the chase position, Alexander Jaeger. We will see them get underway, and looks like we have our first restart of the day. The restart happens when someone went when they're not supposed to. Lights go solid. Now they go. Steven Hatcher out front in the Dorito-powered RX-7 FD. Right beside him in the Lexus is Alexander, really putting on the pressure he knows he has to try to beat the likes of a previous VDC winner. As you see them transition down into clip 4, the proximity that Alex is leaving for Steven is absolutely none. The aggression here from that chase driver is really showing out.
Yeah, it sure is, and this battle is going to be a tough one to call, and it really is just going to come down to the mistake that happened in the first half of this battle, as this one was fairly clean. As you see Alexander really throwing it into the door of Steven Hatcher on entry, but Steven keeps it going on a very nice lead run here, doing everything he's supposed to out front and what the judges want to see here. Nice along the wall, but Alexander right there with him through the majority of this course, and we'll go to the replay. Alexander Jaeger on the left, Steven Hatcher on the right. Who's going to get the win and move on into the top 8? Winner of this round has a tough battle in front of them as well, as they'll go on to face Hines. Again, you just have to think it's going to come down to that mistake. Yeah,
whether it was too much angle and it slowed down Alexander's car, or if it was just a pure mistake from Hatcher. It's something they're going to be looking at with their data that they have. And
yeah, it's definitely a tough one, because to me, you know, watching it, it looked like Alexander still held a good amount of momentum, and it really didn't start to affect his line until the back half of that first turn. And look at there, we're actually going to get a one more time, and I believe they're going to get a shared fault with that mistake.
And I think that's the right call here in this situation, is that shared fault. Let's just see them do it again. Clean up your runs, boys, and give these judges a defined winner. So, out front, once again, Alexander Jaeger in the Lexus. Chasing him down, my fellow Canadian, Steven Hatcher. The light goes solid, and off they go. Initiating in is Alexander out front. No mistakes this time from either driver through that first few clips. Oh man, look at Steven all over the door of Alexander. Alexander doing a wonderful job though here in that lead position. Steven really just trying to put on the aggression, even pushing Alexander a little bit all the way through to the finish.
Yeah, Steven looked to be going after it here in the first half of the one more time battle between these two. Again, Alexander out front and cleaning up the entry as well. Still sets in with good angle, but holds that momentum, fills the first outside zone. And there you see Steven pop out of the smoke right onto the bumper, and the door of Alexander Jaeger falls back quite a bit there, but reels him back in along the bumper once more. Sets in a bit inside for outside zone 5. And there you see the little bit of nudges just before they cross that finish line.
Hatcher just really showing the aggression, so Alexander's going to have to be right on top of that as well. As the lights go solid and off they go, Hatcher out of the gate lead, lighten up the tires, that RX-7 as he initiates in. But there is Alexander right there with them as they transition bumper to bumper, through and through these clips they go. Right there, the aggression already showing from Alexander, just to make sure that he doesn't make any of the same mistakes. And now he's really got to put the pressure on here. This is where it's going to count as they come around that final one, as we hear Hatcher destroying the limiter on that rotary powered RX-7.
Absolutely, just hammered down through that last and final outside zone. And here we go with the replay again of the second half of their battle. Steven setting in nicely, sticks along that yellow line, makes a smooth transition with Alexander right there in tow. Maybe not quite as close, but along the bumper as they make that transition, and gives up a bit of room here. Sets in on the inside, much like Steven did, and then reels him in but this time no taps from that chase position. So it's going to be, I think, maybe even closer for these judges to call here, but it might come down to Steven Hatcher and that chase position and the pressure that he applied. Now it might, come back to bite him with the judges and those taps that he made. But there they go. Steven Hatcher is going to get the win. Chris and Matt go with Steven Hatcher. Ed chooses one more time. But that's going to be enough to give Steven Hatcher the win and move on into the top 8.
Well, Steven Hatcher better be prepared to be up against Alan Hines in the grade 8, as we got two very well-known people now going up against each other. But now we have Reese Tatterson in the Pro Drift Academy S15 in the lead position, going up against Brandon Patrick, in the Ferrari 599. As the lights go solid, off they go for this run. Reese Tatterson getting really squirrely gate there, giving a little bit of an edge there to Brandon Patrick in that chase position, initiating in. Brandon already kind of over the door of Reese Tatterson as they transition now down to clip 4. A little bit wider goes Brandon Patrick in that chase position, but still sticking with Reese Tatterson and giving a good proximity throughout this whole course.
Yeah, Brandon really on one there in that chase position as we go back to the replay with Reese Tatterson out front. And Brandon sticking with him here on the run-up, as you see right next to him, almost giving him a tap there, but leaves just enough room to enter in with him along the bumper as they make that first transition. Again, Reese on a very nice lead line here, smooth transitions throughout, but Brandon right there with him as they move along this course, filling that last and final outside zone across that finish line.
Well, now we'll see if Reese can answer back with the same amount of aggression as Brandon did. And an out front now, Tatterson giving chase. You see them initiate in. Good initiation there from Brandon Patrick. Good transition as well. Here comes Reese Tatterson starting to make that aggression happen and really get in that pocket, but just making it really close there. We'll see if he can get right up on that door as they cross that finish line.
Yeah, Reese really applying the pressure there in that chase position. Here we go with the replay. Brandon out front, and Reese really needed to do this in this chase position to give himself the win, but it's going to be so close here. Brandon giving up a bit of angle through turn 1 out front, but gets it together here through the back half of this course, filling that outside zone. You see Reese right along the bumper and setting in with him, giving him a little tap. Good on Brandon to keep things going. And then Reese right beside him as they cross that finish line. Here we go to those judges. Reese on the left, Brandon on the right, or right down the middle for a one more time. And look at there, Reese is going to get the win. And Matt chooses one more time, but Chris and Ed giving Reese Tatterson the win, and he'll move on for being that just a little bit cleaner there in that chase position. As well as the lead, too, with Brandon having that mistake in that first turn and giving up quite a bit of angle there through the back half of that first turn.
Yeah, that's definitely what it's going to come down to. But if you thought that was the only Ferrari you were going to see today, well, you'd be mistaken. Our next battle, Serkis in the BMW up against Alexander Shivrook in his Ferrari in that chase position. And the lights go solid and off they go. Ericus out front with Alexander giving chase. Initiating in is Ericus, and a good initiation, but Alexander right there with him, leaving no room for that transition, and already on the door of Ericus as they transition down to clip 4 now. Alexander leaving barely any room for error as they come into the wall ride of clip 5, and look at that proximity, basically pushing Ericus through that finish line.
Absolutely. We'll go back to the replay. Another top 16 battle that is just wild in the first half here, with Erika's out front, and Alexander Shivrook giving chase. The graphic a little backwards there, but they make that transition bumper to bumper. Shivrook sticking right there with him along the bumper once again in that chase position, but Erika's on a very nice lead run here, filling these zones, sticking to that wall, and there they go across that finish line, door to door.
Well, here they are back at the line and ready to duke it out one more time. Alexander Shivrook in that lead position now. Serkis going to be giving chase. They come down the straightaway and initiating in is Alexander, but Erika's already showing lots of aggression off the initiation, almost pushing him through that transition as we see them come through clip 3. Erika's all over the door of Alexander. If there was a one more time to be had, it might be this one. They are so close and even. Let's see if Erika's can do the same and get up into that door. He can just before the finish line.
Yeah, he sure does. And here we go with the replay again. The graphic being a little backwards up there on that top left. This is Alexander out front in the Ferrari, leading Erika's through this course and on a very nice lead run here. But Erika's right there along that bumper through that first transition and sticking right into the pocket again on that transition. And last and final one as they set into the wall. Erika's giving up a little bit of space, but then reels him back in and applies that pressure across that finish line. So we'll go to the judges in another really tight battle between these two. Erika's on the right, Alexander Shivrook on the left. Again, just here in the top 16, right in the middle of it. Last and final battle of the first group of top 16. The winner will go on to face Reese Tatterson in that top 8. And look at there, a one more time between these two. Chris chooses Alexander Shivrook, but Ed and Matt choose one more time, and we'll line these drivers up again.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that one more time decision. It was just such a close battle between both of them equally. They were just right with each other the whole time. So I'm happy to be able to do this one more time with them.
Absolutely. Just super even throughout both of those runs. Both applied very good pressure in the chase position and then have phenomenal lead runs out front. So again, here they are at the line and ready to go.
They sure are. Erika's out front. Alexander ready to give chase for this one more time battle. The lights go solid and off they go. Erika's out front. Alexander sticking right with them, a little closer this time on the initiation as they come down through outer zone 1, transitioning right along the bumper is Alexander. Alexander really literally putting it on the door through outside zone 3, but not leaving enough room for the transition and causing Erika's not to be able to keep the vehicle in drift. So that is going to be all she wrote for this run, even though they do finish it out. That was
yeah, that was an interesting way to get back into the run as well, with Erika's out front. But it does look like it comes down to a bit of contact from Alexander Shivrook in the chase position, doing a phenomenal job through this portion of the course right there along the bumper. And then here, I mean, just locked in. But there you see, stops Erika's from transitioning, giving that bumper a bit of a tap. And then Erika somehow is able to get back into it after flying over the curb. And we'll line them back up for the second half of their one more time battle.
Now here we go. Alexander Shivrook out front, Serkis giving chase. We start the second half of this one more time battle. Alexander Shivrook with a good initiation. Erika's not too aggressive, sliding out really wide, making that transition work though. Trying to keep up with the speed of Alexander through this course as they make one final transition onto that final clip. Good proximity now from Erica's, keeping it right on the door of Alexander Shivrook.
Yeah, I think Erikas did exactly what he needed to here in this chase position against Alexander Shivrook. As we go back to this replay again, Erikas on a big advantage from the first half and that contact. But a good lead run out front from Alexander nonetheless. Erikas, as you pointed out, washing out on that first turn, but gets it back together and gets up into the pocket once more in the second half of this one more time battle between these two. There they go across that finish line. And we'll go to these judges. And there they go, left for Erikas Serkis. He will get the win and move on into the top 8 where he'll have to face off against Reese Tatterson.
Well, isn't this starting to look a little familiar? Alan Hines, Steven Hatcher, Reese Tatterson, and Erikas Serkis. Starting to seem like all the old school guys are showing up the new schools when it comes to this classic track. Wait just for our next guys to load in. Our next battle is going to be Lundqvist Tastiemski up against Darius Ostrich.
Yeah, quite a bit of rookies in this second group here for top 16. We've got these two coming up, Lundqvist Tastiemski and Darius Ostrich. Darren Baker and Austin Zalewski up next, another 2 rookies facing off against each other. Zach O'Sullivan winning Rookie of the Year last season, facing off against Masashi Yoshida, a new rookie and coming in on wild card license as well. And then Daniel Mora and Kale Fonseca, some VDC veterans, will face off against each other in that last and final battle of the top 16.
Yeah, it's hard to believe we're already halfway through the top 16. It just shows how fast Riga really is, as it doesn't take these guys very long at all. Probably, what, about 13, 14 seconds to get around this track? It is super fast.
Ooh,
Probably longer than that.
Yeah, a little bit longer than that. Now, if we don't include the run-up, maybe closer to that. But I can say the replay buffer is set to 34 seconds.
Oh, wow. See, it doesn't seem that long. It's so fast when they're out there. But we have our next battle up at the line. Lucas... Oh no, we'll have Darius Ostrich in the lead position. Lundqvist Tastiemski giving chase as they initiate in. Darius looking really good out front. Lundqvist really applying that pressure though as they come through that inside clip. Now for the transition, Lundqvist really not leaving a lot of room for that transition as they come into that wall ride. This Lundqvist needs to get up on the door of Darius and get on it early. And there it is right before that finish line.
Yeah, he did a good job to reel him in for that last and final outside zone. And here we go with the replay again. Darius out front, leading Lundqvist Tastiemski through the course here, entering in nicely, leaves that outside line just a little bit, what works back out there. But you see Lundqvist pop out from that smoke and transition right there with him. Does end up on a slightly inside line, as well as there in that chase position, and reels him back in after giving up a bit of space to that last and final transition. And there they go across that finish line together.
Now they're lined up and ready for the second half of this battle. Lundqvist out front. Darius giving chase now. Lundqvist in that gear shift BMW. Darius in the gold BMW in the chase. They initiate in. Darius is already on the door of Lundqvist as they transition into that inner clip. In little far inside was Lundqvist in that lead lane, but Darius doing a great job to just stick right with them, even transitioning on the bumper into this dangerous wall ride and staying right on the door to the finish.
Yeah, good job by both of these drivers here as we go to the second half of their battle, and it's replay with Lundqvist out front this time. Darius giving chase. Nice smooth line around that first turn, but Darius right there on the bumper, does end up on that inside of line just a little bit there, and then sticks with him through the remainder of this course, just bumper to bumper, burying his rear bumper into that wall. And there they go across that finish line together for another really close battle here. Again, just in the top 16. And there they go. Unanimous decision. Darius Ostrich will get the win and move on into that top 8.
Very good job from Darius there as we move on to our next battle now. Zach O'Sullivan, Masashi Yoshida. Or we're going to go to... Sorry, I'm looking at the wrong
ahead
sheet
a
again.
little bit.
I'm looking down too far. My mic, it's in the way. I'm not joking. So we have Darren Baker in the lead position up against Austin Zaweski in that chase position as they get off the line and start heading to that initiation point. Good initiation by Darren, but right there is Austin trying to apply that pressure as they transition into the back half of this course. Darren doing a great job in the lead, but Austin giving him no room for breathing. It did look like a little bit of a correction there coming into outer zone 2, but look at that, door to door as they come across that line.
Yeah, big time applying the pressure there in that chase position through that last and final outside zone. And here we go with the replay. Again, Darren coming off that second place finish in round 1. And again, looking good here in the top 16 against Austin in the first half of their battle. It looks like Austin rolls out of the angle a bit early there in that chase position, leaving turn 1. But gets it back together and sticks with Darren throughout the remainder of the course. And as you pointed out, just applying all the pressure there coming across that finish line.
It's like Austin knows he is a tough competitor and he's going to have to really push to make this win stick. So Austin now in that lead position. Darren Baker giving chase. The lights go solid and off they go. Kind of a good getaway, not really though, from Austin, lighting those tires up down that straightaway. That's giving Darren the chance to be right there with him. Sticking with him on the door is Darren. A good lead run so far though from Austin as they transition into that dangerous wall ride. And that's where we want to see Darren start to apply that pressure. And he does, getting right on the door just before the finish.
Yeah, he certainly does, and we'll go back to this replay here again. Austin out front, Darren Baker giving chase. And Darren sticking with him as they enter in. Nice line, does make an angle correction out front just a little bit there as he fills outside zone 1. They almost go too wide there for outside zone 3, but Darren sticks with him along the bumpers as they make that transition, firing off as well. And almost giving him a little tap there midway around that last and final outside zone. And here we go to those judges once more. Left for Darren Baker or right for Austin Zalewski. Oh no, a little bit of confusion there from the drivers. It looks like judges may have already made their decision, and they have. Darren Baker unanimously gets the victory and moves on into the top 8 where he'll face off against Darius Ostrich.
Good. We'll see how far maybe Darren Baker can make it this round. Made it all the way to the semi or to the second place in round 1. We have our next battle is the real one this time. Zach O'Sullivan in the chase position up against Yoshida in that R33 in the chase position. Big gap already from Zach out front, but Yoshida quickly reeling him in as he leaves lots of room for that transition. That's going to hurt him as we see the gap start to build up. Yoshida going really wide, having a lot of trouble to flick that car around. Maybe some contact with Zach, maybe some contact again with Zach as Yoshida is really just kind of pushing to try and get that car to where it needs to be, but just can't keep up with the speed of the 2JZ of Zach O'Sullivan.
Yeah, unfortunate to see those mistakes from Masashi in that chase position, but here we go back to the replay. Zach getting out to a really strong start and entering in nicely on a very good line, and then leaves him a bit as well before making that transition. You see Masashi wash out in the chase position up onto that rumble strip, and then has to do everything he can to try and reel Zach back in, but just makes little mistakes after little mistakes in that chase position.
Now they're back at the line and ready to go again. Yoshida out front, Zach giving chase. Yoshida initiate in, Zach right there with him though, leaving a little bit of room down that hill into outer zone 1. As they transition, now Zach starts to climb onto the door of Yoshida, leaving just a little bit more room than a lot of the other drivers has been. As Yoshida's really just trying to put that car where it needs to be, but Zach is now starting to apply that pressure in the second half and really put it to Yoshida right before the end of the course.
Yeah, he certainly did, and I think he did everything he needed to do to give himself the win here in this chase position. As we go back to this replay, Masashi again out front, enters in nicely on an outside line, fills that first outside zone, very good. Snappy transition, has to make a very small correction there, but holds it together, goes up onto the curb just a little bit, hangs onto it, makes a nice transition anyway, and there's Zach right there in tow. And there we go, two of these judges, left for Zach O'Sullivan or right for Masashi, and it is gonna be Zach O'Sullivan gets the win, and he moves on into that top 8.
Good job from Zach making it all the way into the top 8. Let's hope he keeps that momentum going. But our next and final battle of the top 16 is at the line. Daniel Mora in that lead lane, and beside him in the chase position is KO Fonseca. As the lights light up and go solid, that means it is time to get going. Daniel get off the line and try to get the traction down. He initiates in, and KO's right there with him as we see him get through that first outer zone. KO really just applying the pressure and trying to stick with him. And he's doing a good job at doing so, mimicking him very well. Daniel just out there trying to do the best he can, but KO's aggression as they come through this final outer zone. Look at that, on the door is KO as they come through that finish line.
Yeah, KO looking really solid in that chase position in the first half of this top 16 battle between these two. Again, Daniel out front and certainly being chased down by Fonseca. Entering in nicely on an outside line is Daniel. And there, KO transitions and then reels him in and sticks there for the rest of the run here. Look at that, door to door through that outside zone. Gives up a bit of space there for that last and final transition, but quickly reels him back in and once again applies that pressure in that chase position.
Sure does. And now they're back at the line, ready to go again. KO Fonseca in the lead lane with Daniel Mora ready to give chase. The lights go solid, off they go. KO Fonseca getting off to a good start. Daniel Mora though right there with them as they come down that hill into outer zone 1. Daniel Mora a little bit closer to KO than KO was to Daniel in that chase to chase positions. But now, almost like looks like a big hesitation there on the transition from Daniel Mora. But KO doing a wonderful job out front. Now Daniel Mora is able to apply that pressure as they come through to the end of this run.
Yeah, he definitely got back into the fight, but it was certainly something interesting going on in that transition. Here we go with the replay where we'll get to see it again. Fonseca out front and on a good line through turn 1, makes that transition. Daniel dives on an inside line, and then you see KO pour on a ton of angle, and then Daniel will start to reel out of his a bit early there in the chase position. But he does a good job to hang on to it and keep things going. And overall, good second half to the battle, and it's going to be another tough one for these judges. They'll go left for Daniel Mora or right for KO Fonseca. Like a lot of KO fans in the chat, and look at there, he is going to get the win. Unanimous decision from all 3 judges, and we'll see him in the top 8 against Zach O'Sullivan.
That'll be a fun battle between those two. Just wait for a few more people to load into the servers. We're now down to our great 8. We're coming down to almost the end of this, of round 2 here at Riga.
Yeah, absolutely. And a big battle coming up, too, for the first battle of the top 8. Hines, previous VDC champion, as well as Steven Hatcher, another VDC champion, facing off against each other in the top 8. Right after that, Reese Tatterson and Erikas Jerkis, another two strong drivers. Erikas almost getting a championship himself in season 2, and Reese Tatterson, as everybody knows, is a super solid, strong driver, and winning DMVC as well, and getting to go and drive Peter's car, fantastic to see, and I think he made all of us in the sim drifting community super proud.
I was going to use the term jealous that it wasn't me in the car, but I mean, proud works too.
No, Reese.
No,
yeah,
super proud for Reese.
And probably one of the best people to go and do that too, and get the win and be able to go and experience that, and again, make us all proud.
Oh, 100%. But let's start off the grade 8 here. Alan Hines in the Pro Drift Academy S15 out front. Steven Hatcher, the man from Canada, in that RX-7 FD, giving chase right on the door of Alan Hines as they transition down the hill through that inside clip. Little wider was Hatcher through that last outer zone, but sticking right with Hatcher. And oh, Hatcher hitting the front of Alan Hines into the wall. Didn't shape up Alan Hines too much, and he got back into it, but that will deduct that run big time.
Yeah, absolutely. And here we go with the replay again. First battle of the top 8, and unfortunate to see it go down like that with contact in that last and final outside zone. They enter in together really nicely. Steven right there with him in that chase position. Good transition by both of them. Steven going a little bit wide there, up onto the rumble strip, but back with Alan, makes the transition, ends up a bit on the inside, and you see when Steven picks up that throttle, the front really straightens out a bit, and then into the side of Alan Hines.
Well, all Alan will need now is just a clean run, so Hatcher's really just got to put on the best lead run he can and hope for the best here. Hatcher gets off to a good start. Alan Hines right with him. But who would be Alan but not to put the pressure on right off the hop? He wants a full-out battle with Hatcher as you see him bumping Hatcher there, trying to tell him go a little faster, but they both go up over the curb. They transition now into this final outer zone, and look at the distance between them, not that much as they cross that finish line.
Yeah, things got a bit wild there in the second half of their battle as we go back to the replay. Steven Hatcher out front being chased down by Alan Hines. Steven entering in, leaves that outside just a little bit, smooth transition, grabs the inner clip, and then getting pushed a bit by Alan Hines in that chase position. And then Steven going wide in the lead, up onto the curve, somehow keeps it going, and then there's Alan once again in the chase position as they cross that finish line. We'll go to the judges, left for Alan Hines or right for Steven Hatcher. We might see him go at it one more time, and hopefully they can maybe clean things up, as both the first and the second half were certainly, we'll call them scrappy. And there they go. Alan Hines is actually going to get the win and move along into the final 4.
Ooh, could we see these two teammates duke it out?
We could, and it's definitely happened before last season. Very first round, I believe they had to go at it in the final 4 as well for Road Atlanta.
And now Reese has had a little bit more time in the car, got to play around with the real drift car. I think he might be going, hey, Alan, I'm coming for you there. So you're not seeing double. This is Reese Tatterson in his Pro Drift Academy S15 up against Serkis giving chase as they initiate in. Good initiation there from Reese as they come down the hill. Ericus putting on that pressure, going a little bit wider there was Ericus, losing him a little bit of the proximity that he gained, but he gains it right back as they come into this outer zone. Ericus is going to apply that pressure and put it on the door of Reese Tatterson as they come through that finish line.
Yeah, fantastic start to the first half of their top 8 battle here with Reese out front, Ericus giving chase, and both looking very good as Reese enters in, gives up a bit of space on that outside line, grabs that next outside zone, and back onto the line the judges want to see. Erica's going up onto that curb just a little bit in that chase position there, but gets it together and right back onto the door of Reese Tatterson out front in that Pro Drift Academy S15.
Now they're back at the start line and switched around and ready to go. Serkis out front. Reese Tatterson ready to chase him down. As the light goes out and off they go, initiating in. There's Reese Tatterson right with Erica's off the initiation, leaving just enough room to transition. A little late transition though for Reese, as you see Erica's putting the car exactly where it needs to go, but Reese taking full advantage of that and getting up onto the door and putting the car in the pocket right where it needs to be across that finish line.
Yeah, insane from these two. And here we go back to this replay. Again, Erica's out front this time, being chased down by Reese Tatterson, who qualified 4th today. Erica's settling in on that outside line, almost dropping a tire. You see Reese go up onto the curb. It washes out just a little bit, but managed to get back into the fight coming into this last and final outside zone here. Reeling Erica's back in, applying that pressure. Giving up a little bit of line, as you can see, he's not quite out there to that wall. And we'll go to the judges. Left for Reese Tatterson or right for Erica's Serkis. Judges going to take their time to deliberate just a little bit here. I don't blame them whatsoever. Tough battle to call there. Small mistakes just here and there. Reese going up onto that curb just a little bit after the first transition and at clip 2. And then Erica's doing quite the same into outside zone 3. We're clip 4 on the line map.
Going to be a interesting deliberation between the two. I mean, they got to look at absolutely everything to see who's going to win between these two. Both these drivers definitely deserve it, but only one can move on.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm getting word now. Judges are going over the replay, making sure they are making the right call here. Ooh, and a one more time. Matt chooses Serkis to move on, but Chris and Ed choose one more time, so we'll line them up once again.
Here we go for the one more time battle of the Great 8 for the spot of who's going to go see Hines in the top final 4. Will it be Reese Tatterson out front of the Pro Drift Academy S15, or will it be Serkis in his BMW as they initiate in? Serkis already trying to get up on the door of Reese Tatterson as they come through that inside clip and down into clip 3. Reese Tatterson doing a way better job at his line here in that lead position, but Serkis not giving him any breathing room for mistakes as he starts to reel him in and try to get on that door before the finish line.
Yeah, I think he does just that as well. As we go back to the replay, Reese out front for the first half of this one more time battle here in the top 8, leading Serkis through. Nice initiation, does leave that outside line again early. Serkis doing a good job to hang with him as Reese goes a little bit wide for inside clip. Serkis again right there with him coming into that outside zone and settles in nicely along the wall with Reese out front, making a really good lead run here.
He did make a good lead run, but now we'll see if Serkis can do the same, as Serkis now up front with Reese Tatterson giving chase. The light is already out, and down the straightaway they come as they initiate in. Good initiation from Ericus, but look at the aggression from Reese Tatterson. Reese Tatterson really putting it on the door, leaving barely any room for these transitions as they come through the second to last outer zone. Now for the wall ride. This is where Reese really has got to get aggressive, and look at that, almost identical to the previous chase run.
Yeah, absolutely, and really showing that he wants the win here in the top 8 over Erikas Yerkes out front, as Reese got very aggressive in this chase position and stuck with Erikas throughout the entire run here. Is on a little bit of a shallower line there in that chase position, but gets it together to get into the pocket of Erikas Yerkes out front and sticks with him, settles in nicely once again to this wall with Erikas on a little bit of an inside line. But again, just door to door as they cross that finish line. And we'll go to the judges once again for these drivers after their one more time battle. Left for Reese Tatterson or right for Erikas Yerkes.
Straight up the middle for another one more time battle between these two great drivers.
And it's actually going to be Reese Tatterson gets the win, and he moves on to face his teammate Alan Hines in the final 4.
You want to see a commentator get confused? Put the exact same cars side by side. We'll try our hardest, though. One has decals. I'm learning.
Are you, though?
I heard it in your head. You were already sitting there like...
I think you heard it in your own head.
Everybody.
Wait, that's not right.
Alrighty, so now we have our second to last battles here for the Grade 8. Darren Baker up against Darius Ostrich. Darren Baker out front and ready to lay it down in that GTR. But Darius chasing him in that BMW. Good initiation there from Darren as he transitions down the hill, but Darius is right there with him. Darius has been very good in this chase position all day long, as we see Darren make a great transition into this final outer zone, but Darius is giving him no breathing room through this whole track as they have been door to door this entire time.
Yeah, Darius really applying the pressure in this chase position here against Darren Baker out front in his GTR. And here we go with the replay again, first half of their top 8 battle, and entering in together nicely. You see Darren right along that yellow line, filling the first outside zone. Darius right there on the bumper, sacrificing a little bit of angle there in that chase position. But they're matching it a little bit better for that outside zone, as well as coming into this last and final outside zone along this wall ride. And there they go across the finish line together.
Now back up at the start line. They are ready to go. Darius in the lead. Darren giving chase. Darius getting away good, but Darren's right there with him as they initiate in. Darren a little closer off of that initiation down into outside zone 1. And right there with the transition. They are looking great together. Ooh, not leaving enough room. Just a little bit of a bumper tap. Darren had to back out just a little bit, but then catches right back up to Darius. We saw Darius go up over that rumble strip, but keeping it clean and finishing out the run.
And here we go back to the replay of the second half of their battle. Again, Darius out front, leading Darren Baker in that GTR. Very nice through that first turn. Great transition by both of these drivers as well. And there you see just a bit of a quarter panel tap through that transition, but they do a fantastic job to keep it together. But that might be what changes things here and what gives Darius the win as we go to those judges. Darren Baker on the left or Darius Ostrich on the right. Super close battle between these two, other than that contact through that transition. They're leaving outside zone 3 and transitioning to outside zone 4.
I feel like this is going to be every round just as close it could possibly be, and making these judges really have to buckle down and look at exactly every little detail for every single run. Not as obvious as, you know, some of the previous seasons.
And there they go, unanimous decision. Darius Ostrich gets the win over Darren Baker, and he moves on into the final four. Unfortunate to see again from Darren Baker giving a little bit of contact through a transition, which is what gave him the loss against Erkas last round at Tokansipa.
Sometimes, you know, you show the aggression, it's just a little too much, but it's nice to see that aggression there because, you know, it's something that can be dialed back instead of trying to gain it. So now we have our final battle of the Grade 8, and who's going to go see Darius Ostrich in the Final Four? Is it going to be Zach O'Sullivan and his Supra in the lead lane, or is it going to be KO Fonseca in the S15 giving chase as they initiate in? There is Zach O'Sullivan doing a great job down the hill. KO sticking with him though and following his every move. A little bit of a gap though as they come into clip 3. A little bit of a lower, tighter line. It's KO gonna have to take with Zach as they come in through that final outer zone. KO just catching up at the end.
Yeah, Zach coming out strong here in the first half of his top 8 battle against Cal Fonseca. Entering in nicely along that outside, fills that first outside zone, good transition across, grabs that inner clip and starts to leave KO Fonseca a bit in that chase position, up onto the curb just a little bit there, but holds it together really nicely, sets into the wall, picks up throttle when he needs to, and keeps things going for the first half of their battle.
Now it's KO Fonseca's turn to show what they can do in that chase or in the lead position, and Zach to put on the aggression in the chase. Only one of them can go see Darius Ostrich. We're gonna find out at the end of this as the lights go solid and KO gets away out of the gate clean, but Zach is already right there following him up the road as they initiate in. Zach being a little bit closer down that hill and following KO on that transition. KO's putting on a good lead run here so far, but Zach is just right there with him, leaving the room where it needs to the left, and really sticking it to the door now of KO as they come across that finish line.
Yeah, I think Zach's going to come away with the win here as we go back to the replay. KO Fonseca out front does make a good lead run out front as well, but Zach applying a pressure throughout the majority of this run here. Nice line from KO Fonseca out front. Good transition there. You see Zach right there with him. They make that next transition bumper to bumper. Zach reeling him back in. Gives up a little space here, but then dives into that pocket once more for this last and final outside zone. They ride that wall nicely. And we go to those judges once again. Zach O'Sullivan on the left. And there they go, quickly to the left, unanimous decision. Zach O'Sullivan gets the win and moves on into that final four where he'll face off against Darius Ostrich.
Good job there from Zach O'Sullivan making his way up. But now, the battle of the same team. In the lead position, Alan Hines. Chasing him down is his teammate Reese Tatterson in that chase position as they initiate in. Looking at Alan, good lead line, but Reese is putting on the pressure as they transition down the hill. Looking good so far. The proximity between them is almost none. They almost look like one uniform car at this point as they transition into this final outer zone. And really putting on the pressure now is Reese getting up on the door of Alan Hines.
Yeah, he certainly did, and here we go with the replay. Again, Alan out front, Reese giving chase. Good run up by both of them, sticking together here. Entering in on the outside is Alan Hines. Reese giving up a little bit of line there in that chase position. Starts his transition a bit early as well and sticks with Alan Hines up front. Again, through that transition and into that last and final outside zone, just door to door. Reese almost pushing him along, and there they go across that finish line once again.
Now at the start line, Reese Tatterson in the lead position. Hines ready to chase him down. This might be the battle of the goats here. We see them initiate in. Reese Tatterson out front, little far inside though, as Hines doing a good job of sticking with them as they come through outer zone 3 and 4. Wow, the pressure putting on by Allen now is really starting to show as we see Reese Tatterson out front, but there is Hines on the door as they come across that finish line.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one to call for these judges here as we go back to the replay. Reese Tatterson out front, leading Hines throughout this course, entering in almost a bit early there, leaves that outside line. Snappy transition from Reese in that lead position. Allen doing a fantastic job to stick with him through it. Little bumper tap there as they make that last and final transition. But once again, Reese leaving that outside line a little bit. Ends up working back out there. But I don't know. I think Hines is going to get the win over his teammate, Reese Tatterson. All going to come down to, I believe, the lead versus lead.
I think so too, looking at the leads, Reese did have those few mistakes, not as deep in outer zone 1, a few other little mistakes that he made throughout it there.
Yeah, he sure did. And Hines is going to get the win, and he'll move on into the finals here at round 2.
But not the last seen of Reese, as he does have a third place battle to decide. And who will be joining him and who will be going to see Allen? Will it be Zach O'Sullivan in his Supra in the lead position, or will it be Darius Ostrich in his BMW? Initiating in is Zach O'Sullivan with good angle and speed in line as we see him transition through. Ostrich right there with him though, really trying to put the pressure down onto Zach, but Zach kind of pulling away a little bit as we come through 3 and 4, transitioning down to the wall ride of 5. This gives Darius that chance to kind of catch up, maybe a little wall tap there from Zach O'Sullivan right before the end.
Yeah, a good start to their top 4 battle here with Zach out front, Darius giving chase, and Zach looking solid once again in that lead position, enters in along that yellow line. Keeps things moving with Darius right there in chase along that bumper as they make that first transition. Zach pulling away just a little bit there and keeping that momentum going in that lead position, but there's Darius reeling him back in, trying to apply the pressure, and maybe even a small tap there, maybe along the wall and from Darius Ostrich in the chase.
Definitely could have been. It's something the judges will have to look at, but now they're back out to the front, ready to go again for the second half of their battle. Darius Ostrich out front in the BMW, Zach Sullivan giving chase in that Toyota Supra as they initiate in. Good line there from Darius, but Zach right with them all the way down that hill as we see Zach just really close in that pocket of Darius Ostrich as they transition into outer zone 4 and now into the final wall ride of 5. Zach really putting on the pressure here, getting as close as he possibly can to Darius for the finish.
Yeah, absolutely going after the win in that chase position, but it's going to be a tough one for these judges here in the top 4. Darius out front in the second half of this battle. Zach O'Sullivan giving chase, and as you pointed out, that pressure that's being applied from Zach. He does sacrifice just a little bit of angle in that chase position there, but gets it back together, matches the angle nicely through that outside zone, and then sets into the wall with Darius very early. Does sacrifice a little bit of line, not quite all the way out there to that wall, but overall very solid from both of these drivers. A very even battle here in the top 4. Zach O'Sullivan on the left, or Darius Ostrich on the right, or could they stick to the middle? And we see him go one more time here. Chris goes left. Ed and Matt, unanimous decision. Zach O'Sullivan gets the win, and he'll move on to the finals where he'll face off against Hines in the Pro Drift Academy S15 But before that, we will see Darius Ostrich and Reese Tatterson face off for their third place battle.
Sure will. What a good job there from Zach and from Darius. What a great feat from both of them, even just to make it up to this high. I mean, Zach always had that level of driving, but now for the newcomer Darius Ostrich to be going up against Reese Tatterson for third place is a very good show out for him for his second round here of the VDC.
Absolutely, as Reese is ready to go at the line. You see Darius creeping up, and we've got an exciting third place battle ahead of us.
Oh, we sure do. So Reese Tatterson in the Pro Drift Academy S15, car number 2. In the lead position, Darius Ostrich in his BMW giving chase. Reese Tatterson initiating in. Ostrich right there with him. A little shallow into outer zone 1 was Reese Tatterson, but Darius doing a good job of just mimicking the line and keeping with what is Reese Tatterson in this run. As we see him go door to door all the way through to the finish.
An exciting start to this third place battle as we go back to the replay. Reese Tatterson out front and certainly being chased down by Darius Ostrich here. Entering in again slightly early from Reese. He keeps doing it and coming up a bit shallow on that first outside zone and that whole entire turn, but then he gets it together. Darius doing a really good job in that chase, reels him back in along the bumper as they make that last transition and sticks with him as they go across that finish line.
Yeah, what a great run. Darius is really putting on the pressure here. So now we'll see how he does in the lead and how Reese Tatterson is going to answer back for that chase run as we see him initiate in. A little bit of an earlier initiation there from Reese Tatterson. Reese really getting up in there, leaving lots of room though for that transition, but reeling him back in, touching that fender as they transition over to clip number 4. Doing a good job not to make contact here as they come into that wall. And there's Reese putting it on, trying to get right onto the door of Darius.
Yeah, and he does just that as we go back to this replay here. Second half of the third place battle here for round 2. And yeah, it almost looks like, Reese enters early, but at the same time, Darius might have been a bit late on his initiation in that lead position. They keep things going nicely, however, and Reese applying the pressure there in that chase position. Will let that replay play one more time just for that entry. Clean start, clean through the chicane. Reese sticking right there with him. Ooh, maybe even a little tap there from Reese in that chase position before making an entry. And Lee definitely gets right away. They can't, however, use more than half the track, but it definitely looked like Darius was within that halfway mark of the track. Let it play just one more time, just the entry, and we'll cut to those judges. Let them make their decision here. Tough one to see. Absolutely, here we go. To those judges, left for Reese Tatterson or right for Darius Ostrich, who's going to take home the third place podium here at round 2 of Bikernieki. And there it is, one more time between these two drivers. They're going to line them up once more. And we'll get to see them go at it one more time.
Super exciting to see it one more time between these two. That was a really close battle between both of them. Now we get to see them go at it one more time. Who doesn't like one more time battles near the finals?
Absolutely, especially here for a podium finish as well.
Let's see here now. We have Reese Tatterson back in his lead position. Darius Ostrenka going to warm up those tires quick and get into the chase position. We're going to have this one more time battle for third place underway once those lights go out. This should be a fun one because both these guys want this win. Off they go. Reese Tatterson out front. Darius Ostrenka giving chase. Initiating in is Reese Tatterson. Not shallow into outer zone 1 this time, but Darius is right there on the door of Reese Tatterson, just leaving enough room for those transitions as they come through 4 and down into 5. Look how close Darius is to Reese Tatterson. It's leaving me speechless as we see them cross the line door to door.
Yeah, really good way to finish that battle out from Darius, or at least the first half of it. Here we go with the replay. Reese Tatterson out front. Darius Ostrenka chasing. And again, Reese setting up for that first turn a bit on the shallow side and not all the way out there to that yellow line, and sacrificing a bit of line there. Darius doing a fantastic job. Look at that last and final transition there. Right up under him and then into the door. And there they go across the finish line for the first half of this third place battle.
Now we have the second half. Darius Ostrenka out front. Reese Tatterson giving chase. The light is solid. Off they go. Who will take third place here? Round 2 of the Virtual Drift Championships. As we see them come down that hill and then transition in. Look at the proximity that Tatterson is putting on to Ostrenka as they transition down to clip number 4. Up on the rumble strips goes Ostrenka. That doesn't upset him though, as now Reese is starting to reel him in and really get on that door just before they finish out the run.
Yeah, this might be another tough one to call for these judges here as we go back to the replay. Darius Ostrenka out front this time for the second half of their one more time battle. Enters in nicely this time. Reese applying a ton of pressure in the chase position. Transitions with him, reels him back in. Almost looking like he wants to shove him along. Starts his transition a bit early there. Ends up on the shallow side, but still staying right there with Darius Ostrenka and then applying a ton of pressure before crossing that finish line. We'll go to these judges as they make their victory donuts together. Reese Tatterson on the left, Darius Ostrenka on the right. Who is going to get that podium finish? That third place position for round 2.
Such another close battle. It's going to be another hard one for them to go. But there's always the one more time option. It's right up the middle. They just need to click a button.
It might be the easiest button to press.
Sometimes. Make them keep going till a big enough a mistake is made or until we get bored.
We were actually hoping to get the track lights on for finals, but looks like we're going to be a bit early. But look at that. Reese Tatterson gets the win. Chris and Ed both choose Reese Tatterson, and Matt chooses one more time, but that's enough to give Reese the win and the third place finish for round 2 Bikernieki.
Wow, good job to Reese Tatterson. I know his teammate here is going to be rooting for him, and Reese is going to be rooting for Alan here to try and maybe take home a win for their team. I know one man that's going to be in the way of that, and that is Zach O'Sullivan in that chase position in that Toyota Supra. Alan Hines in the Pro Drift Academy S15 here for the finals of the Virtual Drift Championship Season 6 Round 2 at Riga. Here they go. The lights go out Initiating in is Reese, Allen, Hines, but right with them is Zach O'Sullivan as they transition down that hill through that inner clip, and right on the door is Zach O'Sullivan, leaving just enough room for that transition. Zach O'Sullivan goes up on the curves. It upsets Zach O'Sullivan. He over-rotates. He has to recorrect. He doesn't go into opposite lock, but he loses everything he had onto Allen Hines.
Yeah, that's going to be a big one there. We'll go back to the replay. Allen Hines out front. Zach O'Sullivan giving chase. And here we go. Entering in is Allen Hines a bit early. Sticks to that outside line, though. Zach O'Sullivan and his Supra right there into the pocket of Allen Hines. They make that transition. Allen goes a little bit wide. Zach does as well. And as he comes off that rumble strip, the car is just super unsettled. Over rotates and then has to get back into the fight.
Well, this could be it. This could be the final battle of round 2. The last half of the final. Zach O'Sullivan out front. Reese Tatterson. See, this is what happens when we have 2 of the same cars. Allen Hines giving chase. Down the straightaway they come and initiating in. Zach O'Sullivan off to a good start, going really wide though, dropping the 2 tires, but Allen Hines sticking right with them as Allen Hines really on the door now, and Zach O'Sullivan as he leaves no room for that transition on the wheels as they transition, but it looks like Allen backed right out of that decision to make sure he didn't end up making contact, but then catches Zach right at the end of that run.
Yeah, this might make it tough for the judges here. We'll go back to the replay. We'll talk about it. Zach O'Sullivan out front. Allen Hines giving chase. Zach enters in along that yellow line, but then washes out just a bit, maybe dropping even 2 tires there through turn 1. Flying through the course here, makes the transition, and then has to put on the brakes there in an area that he definitely doesn't need to. It chokes Allen up and slows him down, but Allen does keep things going. Man, it's going to be maybe a tough one here for the judges, because there's an argument for Allen going up onto the rumble strip, which maybe leads Zach onto the rumble strip as well, which then leads to the spin out in the chase position. And then you had Zach make quite the mistakes in his lead position there, putting on the anchors through that transition, or after that transition, if we could say. But yeah, still keeps the run together at the same time. So we'll see where the judges go. Left for Allen Hines or right for Zach O'Sullivan.
It's gonna be close. We might even see it one more time. Since we have time, I can explain the differences between their vehicles. So for those watching, Allen Hines has more decals, Reese Tatterson doesn't. That's how I remember them. And I still mess it up.
And patiently waiting on these judges here for a tough call for the finals. As now Reese and Zach get into it for their donuts. Either way, all 3 getting a podium finish today.
I mean, an amazing driving by everyone today. I mean, just taking the bar, demolishing it, and rebuilding it at such a level, and such a competitive level of absolute perfection is needed. Treating Allen as a clipping point now. Donuts ever? Yeah, no, definitely. Oh man, I could just imagine them going over every little thing. It's at times like these where I'm happy I'm sitting here with you, Craig. Where we just
Definitely a
get to
big call.
speculate.
And wild mistakes that happen in the finals as well between the two drivers. And sometimes that's how it goes. They, start going a bit too hard trying to get that win, and just wild stuff starts happening. And I think that's exactly what we saw here in the final battle of round 2. Again, still waiting on these judges to make this tough call. Maybe a bit of fitting music to go along as we wait.
Yeah, do have the theme from Jeopardy.
Oh, and there we go. Hines gets the win here in the finals. Round 2, Bikernieki. And he puts another one under his belt for Riga.
Wow, congratulations to Hines, Zach O'Sullivan, and Reese Tatterson. Hines coming out on top here at Riga for the Virtual Championship Season 6 Round 2. With many more rounds still to come and crazy action still to happen. I'm sure he'll be feeling good off of this after the near loss at the last round.
And there you have it. I mean, just a wild set of battles today, starting in the top 32 as well. I mean, from beginning to end, we had quite a few one more time battles in the top 32 as well, a couple in top 16. But all these drivers came out swinging, even those in qualifying, and those that didn't make it into the top 32 as well. We had a crazy amount of high-scoring runs today. And drivers went off. So, again, even if those drivers didn't qualify today, they should certainly be proud knocking those scores up really high and making it 89 points to qualify today.
Yeah, that's just, like I said, the level is just so high this year. And to see everybody competing at that level is just, to me, it's unreal. Just to see how far everyone has come in, a short 6 years or 6 seasons. I can't even say years because we do seasons.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I mean, it's still been 5 years though. With 6 seasons, we just switched things up, and 2 of the seasons ran really close to each other. One right after another. But yeah, as I pointed out earlier, it's been a journey, and now we have some support from a couple of sponsors: Next Level Racing, TireStacks.com, and Grip Royal. Can't wait to show off the new Grip Royal wheels. If you haven't seen them on the website, they've got some sim racing wheels. Definitely go check those out. They're a bit lightweight and just work a little bit better for our sim wheelbases. So if you have a Thrustmaster, Logitech, Fanatic, anything really, you can stick one of those bad boys on, and we get to see these drivers take their 3-man train here. Hines, Zach O'Sullivan, and Reese Tatterson working their way through the course here all together. Up onto the curve just a little bit, but they keep it going. There they go. Again, congratulations to all 3 of these drivers: Hines, Zach O'Sullivan, and Reese Tatterson. Right, and that is going to do it for round 2. I appreciate everybody that tuned in today, stuck around and watched some awesome battles and qualifying earlier today as well. Again, we were hoping to get those track lights on for the back half of that top 32, but we made it a little early before they could cut on. But that's fine. I hope everybody has been enjoying the new update to the track as well. Riga at night, just I don't know about you, but it definitely hits different. I think it is a lot of fun to drive the track at night, and all the extra little texture updates definitely make the track a little bit up to par for 2021 and 2022. But we've got more updates coming out for some of our older tracks. Stick around to find out what track we're going to be running for round 3. Super exciting to announce that, as well as those grip roll wheels. We'll be showing those off in the next couple of weeks. Again, tune in January 29th, so the end of the month, for round 3 of the Virtual Drift Championships. Stick around on our Discord to find out what track it's going to be and how you can download it as well. Thanks again, everybody. Tune in a couple weeks, and we'll see you there.